Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is The Surge Effect, and I'm your host, Mike Surge. This podcast will be talking about anything and everything, life in general to current events and past events, and all things about this beautiful and wonderful world that we live in. And this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of The Surge Effect. In today's episode of The Surge Effect, we're going to be talking about, of course, what's been in the news cycle there over the last week or so was Donald Trump being trying to be assassinated again for the second time. All right, so before we get started, I've just been having some technical difficulties with my equipment, but my software actually, if not my equipment, but my software for my equipment. So anyway, that's why I haven't posted in a little while, so I had to get things sorted out. So hopefully things are in working order and we can get on with these podcasts. Love putting stuff out there for you guys and hopefully keeping you a little bit informed. Before we get started, I always like to mention two of my sponsors. First sponsor is Love My Legs, Owen Sound Grey Bruce. Head on over to their website, Facebook page, and check out all the leggings that they have to offer. They are the only lifetime guarantee in the business. Number two is he shirts, she shirts. Head on over to their website. Just check on their link below. Facebook page. You can check out stuff like that going on there. Right now, their website's down just for maintenance, but you can head over to their Facebook page and check out some of the stuff they have to offer. All right. And I also like to talk about two other things. One of them is going to be my BCAAs, which is branched chain amino acids. And it's good for what ails you. It's great for hydration, keeping the body hydrated and stuff, especially on hot summer days. And now, of course, on any days, really, fall, summer, spring, doesn't matter. Number two is my podcast mic. These here RODECaster pod mics. They are awesome. They work in conjunction with my RODECaster 2 that I've promoted before. And it's a great little microphone for sure. And everything kind of works hand in hand. So, without further ado, let's get into today's podcast. All right, so the first thing we're going to show you is a gentleman talking about what happened with Trump, of course. And let's just get right into it. In case you haven't heard, here we go.
What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, two backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of.
This is just saying that FBI investigation, apparent attempted Florida golf course, attempted assassination on Trump. Gunman fled in a black Nissan. He was nabbed, of course, later on that day. And Trump says, "I will never surrender." Message after seconds of the assassination attempt. The plot explodes with the assassination bid. Second assassination bid, it says, "Kill Trump, plot explodes." These are just little headlines. Trump was reportedly golfing in Florida during the assassination bid. Not sure why they called the assassination bid. It's kind of creepy. But anyway, he was golfing on his golf course down in Florida. FBI Secret Service said a gunman was barely 400 or 500 yards away from Donald Trump. The gunman poked a muzzle through the fence at the golf course. Gunman spotted by Secret Service agent who was on the hole. Secret Service agent fired back at the suspect, who ran and jumped into a black Nissan and fled. Eyewitnesses took down the license plate in the car, and the suspect was nabbed later.
Is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, two backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of.
So this is what alert from Trump says. There was gunshots in my vicinity, but before rumors start spiraling out of control, I wanted you to hear this first. I am safe and well. Nothing will slow me down. I will never surrender. I will always love you for supporting me. Unity, peace, make America great again. This is what Trump put out shortly after. May God bless you all. That's what he put out shortly after. Trump sent an email to supporters soon after the assassination attempt as well. And there it is. Nothing will slow me down. I will never surrender, Trump wrote in the email to all his supporters. I mean, you got to give the guy credit, man. The guy's, they're trying to kill this dude, man. And here's J.D. Vance, what he said. I'm glad President Trump is safe. I spoke to him before the news was public and was amazingly in good spirits. Still much we didn't know, but I'll be hugging my kids extra tight tonight and saying a prayer of gratitude. That was J.D. Vance. Kamala Harris says, I've been briefed on reports of gunshots fired near former President Trump and his property, on his property in Florida, and I'm glad he is safe. Violence has no place in America.
Subscribe.
So there, in a nutshell, what happened yesterday. And we're just going to keep playing videos here for you here. And this is the guy that actually tried to kill Trump. This is a little bit about him. I'm not going to play too much of him because, I don't know, I think he's creepy. But anyway, here we go.
About good versus evil. This is a storybook. Any movie we've ever watched, this is definitely evil against good.
It says, fresh information has revealed more about Ryan Wesley Roth, who is suspected of attempting to assassinate former President Donald Trump.
President Trump, they were on the fifth hole. They were about to go up to putt. They heard pop, 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 pop.
The 58-year-old was arrested after fleeing a Florida golf course where he allegedly laid in wait 300 meters away from the Republican candidate Trump.
Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of.
He was reportedly intent on filming the attempted assassination.
We were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy.
Roth, a former construction worker from Greensboro, was considered relatively calm when detained by authorities.
The suspect's demeanor I would describe as having a relatively calm, flat, affected, was not displaying a lot of emotion, never asked what is this about.
It has been reported that Roth supported former Republican U.S. presidential candidates Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley and urged them to continue. His X account showed he frequently criticized politicians including Trump, President Joe Biden, and celebrities like Bruno Mars. Roth allegedly attacked Trump in a post dated April 22nd, 2024, declaring democracy is on the ballot and we cannot lose. That's a theme, eh? Democracy's on the ballot, or, he's a threat to democracy. And people keep saying that over and over again. It's not good. Here's one of the things that this Roth said in a tweet at POTUS. So he sent this to the President of the United States. Your campaign should be called something like CADAF, Keep American Democratic and Free. Trump should be MASA, Make American Slaves Again, Master. Democracy is on the ballot and we cannot lose. We cannot afford to fail. The world is counting on us to show the way. Well, see, this is just this rhetoric about democracy again. I don't know where these people are getting their ideas that he's not for democracy, but I can point to a couple different things, but I'm sure you all know this rhetoric needs to stop for sure. But here he is here. He said he also has been revealed that Roth is allegedly a staunch supporter of Ukraine and Taiwan and visited Ukraine in 2022 in support of the war effort. So he's been quite busy with different things around the world, of course. Right here, he says he's in D.C. and Kiev to provide soldiers for the war effort. I'm flying to Ukraine to fight for the kids and families of Ukrainians. I am willing to go and die for democracy. That was Ryan Wesley Roth on X.
We should have thousands upon thousands of people standing here with the Ukrainians. This Maiden Square, Independence Square, we should have millions of people in this square, filling the square from every country around the world. And while we don't, I don't understand. We need everybody here. You know, if you have no skills, just come. You know, we need to be cheerleaders. Just being here and saying, hey, I support the Ukrainians and I support human rights and I support good and generosity and caring and kindness and altruism, and it's just, you know, we need to show the world that we care.
Speaking to the New York Times in 2023, Ross said he had planned to move the Afghans in some cases illegally from Pakistan and Iran into Ukraine.
Ukraine is reluctant to be cooperative. Now I'm talking to over 100 soldiers every day, and pretty much everybody, all of my contacts in Ukraine, they were adamant and pretty much yelled at me every time that I suggested that we bring in Afghan.
Roth was previously convicted in 2002 of possessing a weapon of mass destruction, a reference to the fully automatic machine gun, after a 3-hour standoff with police in Greensboro. All right, so that's enough of showing you clips of this cat. And we're going to move on to what J.D. Vance had to say at a rally in regards to what transpired. And this is J.D.
I was told I was going to get to debate Kamala Harris, and now President Trump's going to get to debate her. I'm kind of pissed off about that, if I'm being honest with you. The idea of selecting the Democrat Party's nominee because George Soros and Barack Obama and a couple of elite Democrats got in a smoke-filled room and decided to throw Joe Biden overboard, that is not how it works. That is a threat to democracy, not the Republican Party, which is fighting for democracy every single day.
So there's J.D. Vance talking about democracy, obviously, and what happened with Kamala Harris and Biden. Biden, they, like you said, they shuffled him off to the side and then, threw him in, threw Kamala in his place. So she wasn't elected. She wasn't voted in by anyone. She was appointed vice president by Biden. So here's what Biden, speaking of Biden, this is what Biden had to say about the assassination. Here he goes. Assassination attempt.
Before I begin, I want to make a quick reference. The attempted assassination against our former president in Florida yesterday. I commend the Secret Service for the expert handling of the situation. And the former president is protected from harm and the subject is in custody. An acting head of the Secret Service is in Florida today assessing what happened and determining whether any further adjustments need to be made to ensure the safety of our former president. Let me just...
Ensuring the safety of our former president. So this is the same guy that's been going on for years in regards to Trump and what a threat to democracy is. So here's just a few little clips of him talking about it.
And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Trump is a threat to this nation. He led a violent mob on January 6th to overturn the 2020 election. Hold on to power. The election I won by 7 million votes.
Constitutes the primary threat to freedom and democracy at home.
Donald Trump. Seriously. Donald Trump uses phrases like we're going to eviscerate the Constitution. He's going to be a dictator on day one.
You said you can beat Trump again. Do you think you're the only one?
I may not be the only one, but I know him well, and I know the danger he presents to our democracy and we've been down this road before. And there's something dangerous happening in America now. There's an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs in our democracy. The MAGA movement. Not every Republican, not even a majority of Republicans adhere to the MAGA extremist ideology. So the answer to the threats we face is engagement. It's not to sit in the sidelines. It's to build coalitions and community. To remind ourselves there's a clear majority of us who believe in our democracy and are ready to protect it. History's watching. The world is watching. And most important, our children and grandchildren will hold us responsible. But as I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Do you understand? You keep saying the same thing over and over again, but people fail to realize what MAGA means is make America great again. Not destroy America, not to take away its democracy. Actually, America is a republic. But to make it great again. They're making it sound like it's some terrorist organization. See how they're playing with the words?
Now, I want to be very clear up front.
This is politics at its finest.
Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican.
So not everyone wants to make America great again. Well, there you go.
Embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections.
So there's his rhetoric of going on about, once again, Trump being a threat to democracy and an existential threat. And it just goes on and on. So this is why when people that are a little unstable, they get the idea that it's okay to go out and, do these things to try to take somebody out. And that is not proper. So here is the part of the debate where Kamala kind of gets a dig at Trump about the 2020 election. Here we go.
Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have
a free and fair election. So people can say what they want, but I could show you numerous videos about what actually transpired in the 2020 election, but people wouldn't believe it. So I'm going to show you just one little wee clip here. There's one little clip, and you guys can go on and find as many other clips as you want on the internet. But here's one here that has to do with dead people that voted. Here we go. Here we go.
Things using open source data. There is a gentleman named Eric Lutzen, and he has matched up a list. He started looking at voters above the age of 80 that were registered for voting and did vote on in Michigan, and 17,327 Michigan voters also had a corresponding obituary. And I didn't print that whole thing out, but I can give you that website for the tabular data, and it's about 350 pages or so.
Almost 18,000 people that were dead voted in Michigan. That's just one spot, one place out of many. But they said it was an honest and fair election. You just heard Kamala Harris say that. Well, if that is the case, just that one thing alone, you should say, hold on a second. Dead people don't vote. How can that be honest and fair? Right? So, speaking of honest and fair, here's Trump at one of his rallies, and just playing a little clip about Kamala and how backwards she is and how she flip-flopped back and forth about stuff. It's quite ridiculous when you see it. So listen up, watch up, whatever you're doing on YouTube or listening on the audio.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously. As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that.
But would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
The food pyramid. What people
Yes.
Yes. Reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
And yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
Isn't that something? Flip-flopping all over the place. Here's another one. During the debate, she also talked about the gun buybacks. Well, listen to this.
It's about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. I support buybacks, and it's something I'm so passionate about and so looking forward to being president to address. We've got to deal with this.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory. Stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
It's laughable, right? When you hear her saying it, you can't quite believe it, right?
He will.
So here is another thing during the debate. People may or may not have noticed this, but Trump was basically going against three people. He was going against Kamala, and he was going against the two moderators. These people that works for who they were, CBS, whoever. Anyway, he was basically fighting three people. Anyway, those moderators, they fact-checked Trump. Every single time Trump said something, they fact-checked him. You know how many times they fact-checked Kamala? Zero. But after it was all over, people did their own little bit of fact-checking. And here's a little clip. And you can listen to it, or you can watch it on my YouTube channel. Listen and watch this.
Sign a national abortion ban.
It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor.
What she says is an absolute lie.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mothers.
Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line. And you're not going to be able to sell those cars if I get elected. Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Let's remember Charlottesville. There were fine people on each side.
Very fine people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away.
Let us finally pass an assault weapons ban and universal background checks and red flag laws.
She's basically she's like our Jagmeet Singh up here in Canada, right? She should not be trusted because she lies. Steady. She just constantly lies. We can't trust people that do that all the time. Like, people tell, a little white lie every once in a while, maybe, to try to, smooth things over, blah, blah, blah. But this is blatant, right? She says she's not going to take your guns, and then she says she's taking your guns. Then she says she's against fracking, and then she's for fracking. I can't even keep it straight. Anyway, with all that being said, during the debate, the problem with the debate was, like I said, the moderators were fact-checking Trump steady, and everyone thought that Kamala won and everything else. But, I mean, it's not about winning or losing, right? It's about who has the best record and who is going to do the best job for your country and who's going to make your life better. That's it. Right here in Canada or in the States. It's that simple. These debates are just smoke and mirrors. It's just to get ratings for the companies like MSNBC or CNN or whoever's going to have the debate. Same thing with the vice president one coming up. Same thing. Anyway, so this debate's going to be remembered for this one little clip, and this clip right here. One I'm going to play for you.
What's happening to the towns all over the United States, and a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
See, now that's going to get a lot of playtime, and everyone that watches that is going to think that Trump's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? They're going to think he's cuckoo for bananas, right? But here's a clip little compilation I just kind of put together of people from Springfield, right, talking about exactly what he just said. You can make up your own mind, whether you believe it or whether you don't. These are actual people that live there. I don't live there, so I don't know. So here we go.
Are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They flipping cars in the middle of the street. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them like.
Oh, I've lived in Springfield all my life. I'll be 60 in 2 weeks.
When did all the Haitians come in?
About 5 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And when they packed, they hit this neighborhood hard.
Why?
Outrageous rent. They went through, they painted them, cleaned them up a little bit, rent them to them, and they pay the rent.
I heard on Twitter that cats are getting kidnapped. Is that true?
Yes, my mom actually seen a post on Facebook. There was Haitians in a white van driving around the neighborhoods collecting cats.
For what?
Skinning them and eating them. Snyder Park, our actual park. If a Haitian is caught walking the grounds down there, they can get arrested because they're going down there and they're killing the Canadian geese so they can take them home and eat them.
I wouldn't be surprised though, because we used to have a lot of cats around here. And especially down here at the end of the street, that lady had probably 50 of them. Now she's lucky to have 5. And the geese down at the park, they're declining. So I don't know if they're eating them too. I guess it's supposed to be their natural habitat or something or whatever.
Yeah, we've lost a whole bunch of cats. There was a van pulled over that had over 100 cats in it with the Haitians. They said they was eating them.
Actually?
Yeah.
Not fake news.
Not fake news.
So a van was collecting cats and eating them.
I watched it happen, yeah. Watched them get pulled over with the cats and admit to the police that they was eating them.
You're not joshing with me.
No, I'm almost 50 years old, buddy. No.
You don't mess around.
No.
I'm upset because they killed his cats. You know, people's talked about their dogs being stolen and eaten. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I'm not sure about them kidnapping them, but with my own 2 eyes, they did kill my daughter's
Something
cat.
to that, we spoke to many people at Snyder Park who say that the duck and geese population is noticeably reduced.
You know, used to this park was plumb full of Canadian geese, ducks. I mean, you would drive through here and you would have to stop and let them come across the road. Wow. And now, more or less, you can speed through here.
Maybe.
So there's a big shout out to David the Menzoid Menzies there from Rebel News. Rebel News. They were in the news cycle the other day as well because one of the court systems here in Canada voted against Rebel News to be a news agency because a according to Trudeau and the Liberals, they don't suit what they believe should be a news broadcaster, because Rebel News asks the tough questions. Some people like Rebel News. Some people don't like Rebel News for whatever reason. But you know what? They do ask tough questions, and they are always there. They covered the trucker convoy. They covered the COVID situations. They did a great job. So big shout out to Rebel News. All right, so listen, whoever you land on this whole thing with Trump, I mean, the first assassination, of course, that kid that was 20, he had no Facebook, no social media. He had nothing in his background. A lot of weird stuff going on for that one. And of course, they took him out. The snipers took him out, but he was within 100 yards and change. I mean, my God, I got a friend could do that with a pistol. And this kid, wrapped off X number of shots and missed them. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And now this guy here the other guy sat for 12 hours on the golf course, and it wasn't swept. It wasn't found. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but it's almost like, somebody knows what's going on, and they're like setting these people up. And it's kind of creepy. But this is the only way they're going to stop Trump is take him off the ballot, because they tried to take him off the ballot legally. And now they're trying to kill him because they're trying to get rid of him. Ask yourself why. Why do they want to do it? Other than the fact that they keep saying he's a threat to democracy and everything else. And people would think back and go, oh, well, if you can go back in time and kill Hitler when he was a kid, or kill Hitler, would you do it? People go, oh, yeah, for sure. Well, Trump's not Hitler. Last time he was going into office, he said he was going to have World War III and everything else. He had peace. Peace in the Middle East. Think of that. Peace for 4 years. No new wars. No nothing. But he doesn't get credit for that. He gets credit for the narrative they keep rolling over in the media to make him look like he's this bad guy. But if you go back in time and see him for the last 40 years talking, before he was even president, about this country, about United States of America, not Canada, talking about United States of America and what he would do and what's going wrong. He didn't even want to be president. People even asked him if he'd run it. He said he wouldn't want the job because it's not who he is. But I think he's doing the right thing because he wants to make it better. He wants to fix it. And who better do that than a businessman? There you go. But now people in Canada, they're comparing Pierre Poilievre to Trump. They even do it in our own house. And it's the mainstream media playing games with people because people aren't paying attention. So, hey, listen, that is it for today's podcast. I've been trying to get this out for the last several days, but like I said, software problems, what are you going to do? Anyway, I always like to say thank you for subscribing to my channel. Much appreciated. If you haven't, please subscribe. Helps with the algorithms, and it helps move things along in YouTube world. I'm also on Rumble. I'll play my reel at the end of this, and you'll see all the things I'm on for social media. I also like to sign off by saying my little message about life. And we are all going through this life, and everyone has issues. Everyone has problems. Everyone's going through something. You got to just do this one thing. You got to keep moving forward. That's it. You got to keep moving forward. It's a tough gig, but you'll be better off for it. Thanks again for listening to my podcast, everyone. It's much appreciated, and have yourselves a great day. Cheers. This episode sponsored by He Shirts, She Shirts. Go to www.heshirtssheshirts.ca. Just type in the letters TSA, The Surge Effect. When you check out, type in TSA for your coupon and receive 10% off your next purchase. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, everybody.